Gentlemen, this is Mantelligence, and today we're using all of our intelligence to help you master the science of flirting. There's no doubt that flirting is an art form, but it turns out there's also a lot of scientific research behind it that can help you flirt like a master, send clear signals to the women you're interested in, and make quick connections with whomever you're crushing on. In other words, become a hot ape. Wait, a hot ape? Is that right? Like a chimpanzee with the jawline of a Hemsworth? Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. I see it now. HOT APE is actually an acronym to help you remember the 6 key concepts in the science of flirting. After all, you and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals. So here are the 6 science-backed flirting tricks of the HOT APE, and the number 1 flirting mistake most likely to turn her off. Number 6, humor. The H in HOT APE stands for humor, which when executed correctly, gives you this result. But you knew that. What you may not know, however, is that women consistently rate a good sense of humor as one of the most important qualities a partner should have. But why? First of all, laughter makes us feel good, and women love spending time with the man who makes them feel good. And second, humor is a great sign of intelligence, another trait women look for before entering a serious relationship. Your ability to make off-the-cuff jokes shows that your brain is quick and flexible. Plus, it allows you to showcase your unique personality and sense of humor. And best of all, humor is a way to weed out incompatible matches. Just watch my pal Beardy here fail to land a joke.
How many tickles does it take to make an octopus laugh? 10 tickles.
Uh-oh, let's see what happens when he doubles down and tells another joke.
Why was the stadium so cold? Because there were lots of fans.
Clearly, this woman doesn't find our friend very funny, but that's a good thing. Because instead of trying to make something work that will clearly not, he can move on and find a woman to talk to who actually appreciates his sense of humor. As we saw with Beardy, when it comes to humor, you shouldn't waste your time chasing girls who you don't click with, because eventually you'll find a girl who's on the same page as you and will find you irresistible for it.
But for some guys, laughing with a girl is the last thing they want to do because their smile is more of a burnt sienna than a pearly white. And let's face it, girls would rather kiss a guy with a clean-looking smile than a guy with a coffee tooth. But sometimes, no matter how much you brush, you just can't get rid of all those stains. So if this is a struggle you face every single day, worry no more. You can still be a hot ape with brilliantly white teeth, especially if you use whitening strips from today's sponsor, Ollie. Ollie Teeth Whitening Strips are an easy-to-use, non-messy, affordable way to noticeably whiten your teeth and remove years of stains. So when you're using your awesome humor to make a girl laugh, you'll feel confident knowing your smile is just as bright as hers. Plus, Ollie Whitening Strips won't irritate sensitive teeth, which means you won't have to force a smile and hold back the pain. So if you want white teeth that won't repel women, click the special link in the description box and use code MAN for an amazing discount.
Number 5. Open body language. Once you've gotten her smiling and she's intrigued by your personality and intelligence, you've got to draw her in with open body language. We've talked about body language before, like in this video on 10 alpha male body language tricks. But unfortunately, a lot of guys still aren't using this knowledge to help their flirt game, which means they're not only failing to make the right moves, they're also missing out on the signs that a girl's flirting with them. So let's break it down. The 3 key components to open body language are shoulders, arms, and feet. In flirting situations, your shoulders should be facing her, your arms should be uncrossed, and your feet should be pointing in her direction. I'm not telling you to stand stiff as a board all night long. I mean, you gotta move around or you're gonna look ridiculous. But in those moments when things get a little more intense, open up your body language to signal that you want to be closer, and check out her body language to see if she's feeling it too. But more on that later in this video. Number 4, touch.
Alright fellas, now you've seen me fail a few times. Let's get real for a minute. I know a lot of you are nervous about touching women. You're worried about the way you touch her will cross the line, either sending her running to the hills or reaching for a can of mace. You may have even heard of, or read in the comments, horror stories from dudes who say they shook a girl's hand and got arrested for assault. First of all, these stories are fake news, unless these guys are seriously misinformed about how handshakes work. And secondly, touch is an essential part of flirting. It's something you need to get right if you hope to become a true hot ape. So, I'm going to teach you how to touch a girl in a way that shows you're interested but doesn't come across as creepy. So let's start off talking about where to touch. When you're breaking the touch barrier with a girl for the first time, her arm is the best place to target. The closer a touch is to her hand, the more intimate it is. So a touch on the shoulder is safe, but maybe a little too safe. And a touch on the hand is as red hot and flirty as it gets without crossing any lines. Now, Knowing where to touch a girl will only get you partial credit, but in order to get full points, you need to know when and how to touch her. And to make it super easy, I've got 3 simple rules to live by. Don't breach, don't reach, and don't grab. By don't breach, I mean that you shouldn't touch a girl you haven't already spoken to. People generally don't like being touched by strangers, and touching a woman before you even spoken to her, it can come across as aggressive and weird. So break the ice with some conversation and give her a chance to warm up to you. That way, you'll give her time to develop some interest and start hoping for some physical contact. Next, don't reach. If a girl is standing or sitting far enough that you can't touch her without reaching, it might be because she's keeping her distance intentionally. A girl who wants to get closer will get closer, and she'll signal her interest by making herself available. That's when you go for the touch. Finally, don't grab. When you touch a girl for the first time, it should be flirty and affectionate, not forceful and firm. Whatever you do, don't grab or grip her. Even if she was feeling it, the moment she feels trapped, she'll start looking for an exit. Stroke her upper arm lightly. Rest your hand on her forearm or wrist, or use your fingers to play with hers. Just be sure the moment is right before you do it. So remember, don't breach, reach, or grab, and make sure the timing is right. But if you're still a bit confused on timing, our next few tips on how to be a hot ape will help you figure out when it's acceptable. All right, guys, we've taught you how to be hot. But before we get into ape mode, we wanted to remind you that at the end of this video, we're going to show you the #1 flirting mistake that makes you look less like a hot ape and more like an ugly jackass. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Now, let's get back to our list.
Number 3, attention. When it comes to flirting, attention works on 2 levels. The first and most obvious level is that if you want someone to get the hint that you're into them, you should pay them special attention. The play it cool method works in high school relationships, but in adult relationships, you should show the other person that you're interested by making them feel special. It makes sense, right? If something's important or interesting, you pay attention, like how you held your bladder for the entire 3 hours and 2 minutes of Endgame. Oh, so good. Similarly, the amount of attention you pay a girl shows her the value you give her. But on the second level, things get a little more meta. As you flirt, pay attention to the way she responds to your advances and how she joins in. This way, you can tailor your approach and either change or keep your initial strategy, or gracefully make your exit. Remember how my pal Beardy didn't bother to change his approach when he told those jokes to that girl who clearly didn't like the first one? He might have had more luck if he switched up his jokes or found something more interesting to say. So when you're chatting with a girl, be sure to give her your undivided attention and pay attention to how she responds to you. You'll know if your jokes are working, whether or not she wants you to get close and touch her, and it makes flirting so much easier if you read the signs and are confident enough to move on when things aren't going well. Number 2, proximity. A romantic fling might start by meeting eyes across the room, but if it's going to go any farther than a staring contest, you're going to have to get closer, and that's where proximity comes into play. Let's say you lock eyes with a girl for a second across the room, and a few moments later, she mysteriously appears right next to you. She didn't get lost. She's using proximity to let you know she's interested in getting a closer look to see if you really are a hot ape. In the same way, getting in close proximity with a girl you're flirting with shows her that you're drawn to her and that you'd like to get even closer. Oftentimes, this will happen naturally, but if you remember to pay attention, like we talked about in number 3, you'll notice that as the gap between you closes, your flirting is working.
Number 1, eye contact. I know, fellas, it seems like every video we produce mentions the importance of eye contact, but that's because it's really vital. Of all the flirting tips on this list so far, humor, open body language, touch, attention, and proximity, eye contact is the one thing that makes it clear you're flirting and not just being friendly. Think about it. A girl who isn't sure what you're going for could come up with some other reason for every behavior on this list. You joke with friends, you get in close proximity in noisy bars, and you might just be a touchy kind of person. But there is no way she could mistake frequent, intense, extended eye contact for anything other than what it is, flirting. That's what makes eye contact so important. It signals that something more than a friendly chat is going on, and it communicates your feelings without you even having to say a word. Awesome, I know, right? Of course, you're gonna have to say some words sooner rather than later if you want to avoid making her uncomfortable. But in the end, nothing gets a girl's heart racing like looking deeply into her eyes, especially if she's staring back. The number 1 flirting mistake that turns women off. Now, the science of flirting shows you how to be a hot ape and explains just what to do to flirt like a boss. But unfortunately, it doesn't tell you what you should say. Thankfully, we've already done a video about that and how to talk to girls. But when it comes to flirting with a girl you've just met, the worst thing you can do is talk only about yourself. That's not a hot ape move. That's an ugly jackass move. That doesn't mean you can't talk about yourself at all. I mean, you're trying to get to know one another, right? It just means that not everything has to be about you. What you've done, where you've been, and how much money you make. She wants to get to know you, but she also wants to see that you think about other things other than yourself. So, as you evolve from man to hot ape, always be sure to ask a girl questions about herself and leave the self-centeredness to the lower life forms.
Those are the 6 science of flirting steps to becoming a hot ape, and the one flirting mistake that will definitely turn her off. And hey guys, we're trying out some new ideas with our videos, so be sure to let us know what you think in the comments.
And don't forget to click the special link in the description box for a smile that's guaranteed to make you a hot ape. With a discount, get an annual plan for less than $7 a month.
Thanks for watching.